Welcome to the Weekly Pulse, first ever solo edition. I am here all by myself today, going over today's topic, which is simplification. Yeah, since nobody else is here to cheer for me, I'll just push the buttons. So, like I said, simplify. Today, doing this by myself is probably as uncomfortable as I've been since the very first episode that we did, which I was terrified. So here we are. I am totally out of my element, not talking to anybody, not having a Josh or Tina next to me to bounce ideas off of or, discuss back and forth. So what a perfect time than now to discuss simplify. And anytime that you decide that you want to do something new or try something that you're uncomfortable with, what's the best thing that you could actually do? Well, I think it would be to simplify the process. What could you do to make it as easy on yourself as possible? And how many times in your life have you wanted to do something, but you've overcomplicated the process? Overcomplicated it so much that no action was even taken. And to be honest with you, that just about happened with me today. This is the first time that we've ever done 2 takes on a podcast. Every time that we've recorded, we hit stop, we cut the beginning and end off, and that is what you get. Today, I actually had to stop what I was doing, delete it, trash it, because I didn't like the way it started. And honestly, I totally forgot what I was going to say. So I had to restart because my mind went totally blank with this, having to do this by myself. And I had to get myself together and think about this. Like, you're going to do it. You've committed to doing this. And so here I am. And I had to go back to the message. Well, how do I simplify this? Well, how about write this thing down? Write down what you want to say so you don't draw a complete blank while you're in the middle of talking, which is what happened on try number 1. I got about a minute and a half in, and I literally couldn't think of one thing I wanted to say about simplifying, which is what we teach every day. It's pretty amazing that I literally couldn't think of one thing to say. So, hence, I wrote everything down that I want to discuss. And, simplifying is what we try to teach every day. No matter what we're coaching somebody on, if we can make it more simple for them, that's what's going to win. Simplifying wins every time. What systems are the best? The ones that are the most simple. Complicated systems don't work. So, even though, unfortunately, with exercise and nutrition, it's almost like people are seeking out the most complicated thing instead of how do I find the most simplified version of what I want to do? And that's what we're aiming to do and what we're trying to craft and trying to work on every day with our coaching is how do we make this simple for people so they can actually do it, so they can do it for an extended period of time and have success all at the same time. Because if we can do that, we will win. And I think we're doing that. So I'm just going to go over kind of 3-4 topics that we generally discuss and just how to simplify it. And we're going to start with exercise. How many times have you been sitting there telling yourself, I need to work out. I should start working out. But you pick the hardest damn thing to try to do. You grab a P90X video or Insanity, which the name itself should tell you that's not the right choice. So pick something different and get yourself started. And what would be the most simple way to get started with movement? And I can't think of anything easier than just go for a walk. So right now, if you're not moving, you're finding yourself stuck and you just keep telling yourself, I should do this. I need to do this. I need to, all these different things. Simplify it. Try to just go for a walk. Get that ball rolling. And then once walking becomes more easy, well, then what's the next easiest thing that you could do? Maybe it's doing some squats or some push-ups on the countertop, something at home where nobody's looking. And you just start to introduce some strength training. And then you can just keep leveling up by the next simplest version. So with exercise, make it simple. Just start walking. If you're doing nothing right now, get out, go for a walk. The weather couldn't be any better. As you can see right now, like what a better time to walk than right now. It's sun shining. It's 65 degrees, nice fall afternoon. Perfect. Then the next thing that people way overcomplicate is nutrition. And again, it's like people are seeking out sometimes the hardest version. You got to count my macros, count this, count that, blah, blah, blah. That's exhausting. So what we try to teach people is, to simplify nutrition is let's get it down to like 4 to 5 very basic tasks or items. Can you eat 2 fruits a day? Or if you're at 0 fruits a day right now, eat 1 fruit. Figure out how to eat 1 fruit per day. Vegetables. Eat a vegetable. Protein. Make sure your meals have protein. And probably the biggest one of them all is, can you eat at home? It doesn't matter what you make. Eating whatever you make at home, I promise, is going to be better than anything you'll get out to eat for lunch or dinner, whatever it is, or breakfast. And then the last thing, can you drink water? So, to simplify your nutrition, if you're not doing the 5 things I just listed, eating fruit, eating a vegetable, eating protein, eating at home, or drinking water, then start there. Don't go into this deep dive of, I got to start counting my macros, counting every calorie, doing all these super challenging things, never eat another carb again. The list goes on and on with nutrition as far as crazy things people try to do versus just go back. Let's take it back to the basics. Eat a fruit, eat a vegetable, eat protein, eat at home, drink some water. And then once you get those 5 things down, then you can start to explore how to make your meals healthier, how to make them better, and move on, on and upward from there. But start with the basics, keep it simple. Third topic that gets overlooked and is very underrated is sleep. Very few people are getting the right amount of sleep consistently 6-7 days a week. And that means close to 7 to 8 hours of sleep each week. And again, the process, people usually start a little bit backwards when they think about sleep. They start with what time they need to go to bed, which we try to teach. What time do you need to wake up? That's where I would start with somebody is, what time do you need to wake up every day? Okay, you have to be up at 5 a.m. That means you need to be sleeping by 10 p.m. And the best way to make that happen is turn off your electronics. Turn off your phone, turn everything off, and do it 30 minutes before you need to be sleeping. So that gives you 30 minutes of relaxing time to actually fall asleep. So try to just simplify your sleep patterns. What time do you need to wake up every day? Go backwards, and then figure out what time you need to go to bed, and then turn your phone off, electronics off 30 minutes prior to that. So those are kind of 3 of the basic items and simple items that we like to start with to help people build a foundation of living a healthy lifestyle. So my challenge to you is this week or today or whatever is to think about a time in the past that you have wanted to do something or wanted to try something, but you overcomplicated the process. You told yourself you're going to do it, but then you got to thinking and you got in your own way because you made it way too hard. I got to do all these extra things, and you overcomplicated it so much that you never even started the task at all. And like I said, I did this with just the podcast in general. I've had this idea of this podcast for 3 years, and I overcomplicated it for 2 years, thinking I need to have all this stuff, do all these things. And finally, we came to the realization is just hit play or hit record. Start a Zoom, hit record, see what happens, and go from there. And here we are, 30 episodes later, somewhere in the 30s. I don't even know. Episodes later, and we've done one every single week for that time frame. And it's all because I made the simple choice of hit play or hit record on Zoom. We had no equipment, no anything. And then as you can, if you went back to episode 1 to today, you could see the leveling up process start to happen. From Zoom, then we picked a different company other than Zoom that made it a little bit better. And then we got equipment and started to upgrade the sound, and all the things are starting to come together. And the other podcast, the other version of the Weekly Pulse, when we're going to different businesses, now you see Joe and I are actually doing it on site. We went to Myrtle and Grace the other day and actually did a podcast on site at their facility. So, the process, we're getting better every single week. But if my goal would have been to start with doing on-site podcasts, we'd still be at zero episodes. That's where we'd be. So I hope this can be a learning experience for you. Maybe, like I said, go watch how terrible our first one was, but at least we hit record and followed through with it. So that's my challenge to you this week. Think of one thing that you have put on the back burner because you overcomplicated the process. How can you simplify it? And how can you just hit play or hit record? Good luck. And I would love to hear in your comments, like, what did you comment below or send us a message on what action you took on your new process that you simplified.